The Entrepreneurial Mind: 100 Essential Beliefs, Characteristics, and Habits of Elite Entrepreneurs. Section 12. Require criticism and disagreement in your company. Honest disagreement is often a good sign of progress. Mahatma Gandhi, Indian nationalism leader, socialist activist. Michael Jordan is the laughingstock of the National Basketball Association, NBA. Jordan, who dominated the NBA for years, won 6 championships with the Chicago Bulls, was crowned Most Valuable Player of the league 5 times, and still continues to be one of the most recognized sports figures in the world, issuing air balls, as it were. As owner of the Charlotte Bobcats, he has been unable to translate his success on the court into success in the front office. During the 2011-2012 NBA season, his Bobcats had the worst winning percentage in the NBA history. They reached their nadir. As the season ended in total shame, the players and owners prepared for a different game during the off-season, the blame game. While the heated debate continues about what's needed to save the franchise from complete collapse, most people already agree that the lack of Jordan's leadership is a major problem. Charles Barkley, a former NBA player turned commentator, has chided his friend in public, implying that Jordan is an aloof owner who lacks management ability and has no interest in running a winning team. Many of Jordan's closest confidants agree that the Bobcats' leadership must be changed. Furthermore, they point to a culture of acquisition that prevents the franchise from moving forward. In other words, Jordan is surrounded by yes men minions who are afraid to tell him what he needs to hear in order to improve his team. This defeating culture can shoot down a business as easily as a basketball franchise. When my company was young, I committed the mistake of creating a culture in which everyone agreed with me. I only accepted individuals on my team who thought like me or who took orders happily. Also, in the same way that Jordan intimidates members of the Bobcats organization, I apparently had the same effect. Like Jordan, I was a superstar with a history of success. No one was willing to challenge me or my ideas to take the company to a higher level. I was somewhat aware of this internal culture, but I didn't think it was harmful. Moreover, I wasn't mature or confident enough to actively seek out dissenting opinions. As a result, my company didn't reach its full potential. A culture that encouraged frequent criticism and disagreement could have led to that kind of success. Now I actively seek people who will ruffle my feathers by criticizing my ideas. When possible, I make these critics a part of my team. Otherwise, I keep them close by for consultation. If I find people who can really get under my skin and make me question my way of thinking, I am especially motivated. I work harder because I want to prove them wrong, either by strengthening my case or by finding a better way. If my ideas aren't working, I often adopt their suggestions. Through this process, my company is stronger. My latest venture, a data analytics company, has benefited tremendously from a culture in which ideas are challenged routinely. For instance, going against the yes men faction at the company, we opted to use new Agile methods to create our product. Consequently, product development is faster and leaner. Going from celebrated champion to ridiculed loser is not what Jordan had in mind when he decided to assume ownership of the Charlotte Bobcats. However, he may be out of his league and it's largely his fault. He now understands, like so many other business leaders, that he must employ people who tell him when he is headed in the wrong direction. Otherwise, his odds of turning around his franchise are next to nil. Take a lesson from Michael Jordan's ownership woes and my less exciting anecdotes. Surround yourself with honest people who tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you don't, you may become the laughingstock of your industry too. So much for the theme of the classic Gatorade commercial that featured Jordan. I want to be like Mike. So, um, to reiterate the title of this section, require criticism and disagreement in your company. Um, this one, I kind of agree with the idea to some degree because, like, the illustrations from this section show, just having a bunch of yes men agreeing with everything. You don't push the envelope, you don't get to the next level. Um, but I feel like it has to be constructive criticism, not just criticism for the sake of having criticism, because um, if you just have criticism for the sake of criticism, it might not be objective. It might just be like, you're a fat idiot. And at that point, it's not so much um, your idea could use some work. Have you thought about XYZ? It's not critiquing the work and pointing out ways to improve. Um, so there's a fine line between having criticism and I guess having something that's actionable to improve on it versus, oh, we're just going to be saying a bunch of mean stuff and call it criticism. Same thing with disagreement. You can um, kind of disagree on whether you should go with product A or product B for the next product your company is going to roll out for customers. Um, you know, just disagreeing on, um, you know, just the surface level of, okay, I don't agree with you. You said you like product A and I like product B. On the surface level, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing, but your reasoning for liking product A over product B might be just a personal opinion. Oh, I prefer Pepsi versus Coke, and you prefer Coke versus Pepsi, and that might be, a taste thing when you go to drink the particular soda. Um, do you prefer a hamburger to steak? Do you prefer um, a pizza to mac and cheese? Like it just might be um, a personal opinion, or it might just be full out. This is the way I think, and you don't agree with me, so you're wrong. You have to kind of use some discernment, and when the disagreement and or criticism might be beneficial or helpful, and when it might be um, distracting from you making that incremental um, steps or leaps in your business. So hopefully you found some value in section 12, um, required criticism and disagreement in your company from the entrepreneurial mind. Thanks and have a good day.